Best laid plans of mice and men, and they often go astray, and that's what's happened in my poor potager. Well, you know, it was looking really pretty good. And then I came out here one day, and my peacocks had absolutely devastated every single beet, every piece of chard, every nasturtium, and everything I had in these tubs, except for the cilantro. And so I had to start all over again from scratch. And as you can see, it looks pretty ghastly. And then I ended up putting up these tunnels because, I had to protect my garden from my birds. So this looks really dreadful right here. Not exactly what I had planned on paper, but that's the way it goes with gardening. I'm sure you know that. I can't even get in here to weed because I can just barely reach my arm in there. And sometimes it gets stuck when I get past my elbow, even though I have skinny arms. But looks pretty good over here, but what good is it if I can't gather that cilantro, right? So I have had to come to a conclusion, and it's something kind of sad for me because I really love the design of this garden. I love the fact that it's nice and open, and that I haven't had to put any fencing around it because I didn't have to in the past. My birds were not so evil back then. But now I have realized that I'm going to have to completely enclose this garden with a fence, a peacock-proof, chicken-proof fence. Because what is the point of trying to make a garden not only productive but beautiful when you have to have wire everywhere and barricades everywhere? Although I think the little twig fences are charming, they do not keep the chickens out. The stone walls, they don't keep the chickens out. So I end up having to do stuff like this, which really ruins the look of the garden. And I am really concerned with the way a garden looks. Not just what it produces, but how it looks. So my poor little watermelon plants, as you can see on the edges here, they have been completely devastated by my peacocks who come in here and they just help themselves. And since I have free-range birds, and I do love my birds, but they can really be destructive. So I'm having to come in here and completely change. It's going to completely change the look of this garden. But I'm going to try to do it so that it's beautiful, it's protected against the birds, and it's still productive. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put up a picket fence all the way around this garden with tall, spiky tops so that my birds have no inclination whatsoever to climb upon that fence or even to fly over it. So that's what this video is about today. And I'm going to make a fence that covers 56 or 57 feet because that's what I've got to do in this garden. It's got a pretty big perimeter. So I'll see what I can come up with. So to make the picket fence to go around this potager, I am going to use these spindles, which we've had stored in the barn. They used to be the spindles that went around the porch railing, but we don't have a porch railing anymore because we like the wide open porch. But using the chop saw, I've cut them all with this very sharp spike. And I want that because it will discourage the birds from sitting on the fence. It'll discourage them from even going over the fence. My birds just don't like obstacles like that. And so I'm going to attach these to the 1x4s in 8-foot sections, and we'll go from there and we'll see what happens in the next video when I'm able to put everything up. So these are 8 feet long. This is my 4th one. I have to cover 56 feet, so I have to make 3 more. I have just enough spindles to do that. But it's pretty easy, these are. The spindles, as you can see where I have cut them on the chop saw to a point. It's far from perfect, but you know what? It's me. I made them myself, so I'm not a carpenter. But it's good enough for my potager. I like things to be a little bit funky, as you probably already know. My husband would have done this for me, but I wanted to do it myself. So using his tools and his staple gun over there. I stapled in about 3 staples onto each end, but I'll probably go back with wood screws to secure those really well. I use these little 4-inch spacers, so each one is 4 inches apart. That's wide enough for a chicken to get through, but I'm also going to put goat fencing behind this, so this will be really secure against the birds squeezing through, and then those pointed tops are going to keep them from jumping on top of it or trying to jump over it. They won't do that. My chickens and my peacocks just won't do that. Cross my fingers, that is. Okay, so pretty easy job. These rails are 1x6s, 8 feet long, and as I said, I just have to make 3 more of these, and then I can find something that I want to use for the posts. Then I'll have to start digging holes for the posts and rearranging the entire design of my potager. But if I can keep those birds out of that garden, I'll be just as happy as can be.